President-elect John Kennedy held his first news conference today. It was a strange and perhaps a news conference that will have some effect on further news conferences. He insisted upon letting the press get first crack at the news and then permitted the radio and TV people a separate news conference. This Mutual recorded, and here it is.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I have copies of all these wires will be given to you. I've sent the following wire to the President in response to his wire. President, Augusta, Georgia, I am grateful for your most recent wire and your willingness to meet and work with me in order to effect an orderly transfer of executive responsibility. I am asking Mr. Clark Clifford of Washington to meet with General Persons as my representative in coordinating this effort. He will arrange with General Persons regarding all meetings between the present heads of the executive departments and representatives of the next administration. I look forward to meeting with you and again express my appreciation for your cooperation. Sincerely, signed Senator John F. Kennedy. Then I've sent the following wire to Mr. Khrushchev, Nikita S. Khrushchev, Chairman, Council of Ministers of the USSR, Moscow. I am most appreciative of your courtesy in sending me a message of congratulations. The achievement of a just and lasting peace will remain a fundamental goal of this nation and a major task of its president. I am most pleased to have your good wishes at this time. Signed, John F. Kennedy. Now, I have the following announcements to make. I have asked Mr. Allen Dulles to stay on as director of the Central Intelligence Agency, and he has acceded to that request. He has served every president since Wilson in a variety of capacities, and a continuity of stability and direction in this particular post is imperative. I have asked Mr. J. Edgar Hoover to stay on as director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and he accepted. His tenure in the federal service is almost as long, stretching all the way back to the administration, I believe, of President Hoover, and the nonpartisan nature of this post is well established. In addition, I have asked Mr. James M. Landis of New York, former dean of the Harvard Law School, member of the SEC, chairman of the CAB, to undertake a study in an area of long concern to us both, a study of the federal regulatory agencies with a view to maximizing the effective dispatch of their business. He has agreed to submit a preliminary report by December 15th. In addition, I have the following appointments effective next January to announce at this time. Mr. Kenneth O'Donnell of Worcester, Massachusetts, will continue to serve as my special assistant. Theodore Sorensen of Lincoln, Nebraska, will serve as the special counsel to the President. He will begin work immediately to assist me in the preparation of the new administration's program, having worked with me in policy matters during the last 8 years. Pierre Salinger of Falls Church, Virginia, will serve as the press secretary in the next administration to the President. He has served as press secretary for my campaign for over a year and will continue in that capacity during the transition period as well as in the new administration. Andrew T. Hatcher of San Francisco, California, will serve as associate press secretary. I have had a long talk this morning with Senator Lyndon Johnson, Johnson City, Texas, on the telephone about the plans for the forthcoming session of the Congress. I plan to visit him in Texas at his ranch sometime late next week before he leaves November 20th to attend a meeting of the Interparliamentary Union as a delegate from the United States Senate.
this question. Second, some stories that are coming from Europe. One, do you have any plans to meet with Paul Harvey Spock in New York on the 21st of November? And also, are you considering possibly attending the NATO meeting in Paris in December? And part of this, too, sir, you didn't say in your message to President Eisenhower when you plan to see him.
I have no plans, no definite date on the meeting with the President. I'm going to Florida tomorrow afternoon. I will visit Senator Johnson, I believe, around Thursday of next week. And then after I've finished a short vacation, I'll return to Washington, D.C., and at that time, depending on the President's schedule, I hope to have a chance to meet with him. I would think it would be sometime in November. I don't have any schedules about any later appointments. I would be delighted to have a chance to meet Mr. Spock, but I don't have any definite appointment. In regard to the meeting in the middle of December, I haven't considered that matter yet and discussed it with no one. Yes, Pat.
We have a report that Chancellor Eisenhower, he says flatly that he's meeting you in February, is this correct?
Well, I haven't seen his statement, but I don't believe that we received any message in regard to that, and I haven't made any response to any this matter. I have not been informed about it, and I haven't received his message. But I would hope to have a chance to see him at some convenient date, but I haven't received any message about the matter in February. The first matter was all cleared up way back in 1955 and is of no problem and has not been for some years. And the matter, that's the back. And the second matter, I've never had the matter to which you referred to, Addison's disease. In regard to my health, it was fully explained in a press statement in the middle of July. And my health is excellent. And I've been through a long campaign, and my health is very good today. Excuse me, Miss Higgin? I talked to Mr. Clifford this morning. He has been a member of my representative. I think Mr. Nixon also had a representative meeting with the Brookings Institute during the fall, which concerned itself with the problems of transition. I expect to meet with Mr. Clifford sometime next weekend. Also, Professor Neustad, who has been concerned himself also with the problems of transition. And I'm going to talk with him also. But in regard to the appointments, I haven't discussed any details. But as soon as I come back, we're going to get to work on the whole matter. But I won't make any other appointments. These are really all personal matters except Mr. Dulles and Mr. Hoover, which are carryovers, and I won't do anything about any other appointments now before I come back. I would hope that sometime in late November or early December, all the cabinet posts could be nominated. Yes. I haven't discussed it with either one of them, so I don't know. I have no idea what they're going to do. I think they're both going to take a vacation separate from me for a while. They're all going in a different direction, and I haven't talked to them about what they're going to do. No, I haven't talked to them.
Will you resign Senate seat before January 5th?
Well, I expect to resign my Senate seat sometime in December, and the responsibility for filling it is the governor's, but I hope to have a chance to talk with him about the matter. Yeah.
During the August session of Congress,
well, the rules of the House are a matter of judgment for the House, and the members of the House will have to judge what their rules should be. And I'm sure that whatever the rules are, that they will permit the orderly handling of legislation, which is supported by a majority of the members of the House.
Were you somewhat surprised by the narrowness of the popular vote? And do you feel that this in any way handicapped you in your legislative program throughout the American campaign?
Well, it was a close election, which I always thought it would be. I didn't know it would be quite as close as it turned out to be, but I knew it was, from the beginning, it was going to be a close, hard fight. There were many problems which were present for us during this campaign, and but we finally emerged successfully. Now, as far as the next program, I went to the country with very clear views of what the United States ought to do in the 60s. I have been elected, and therefore I'm going to do my best to implement those views and meet my responsibilities. And I'm confident that the members of Congress will meet their responsibilities, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work together. But I didn't run for the presidency without realizing that there were great problems facing the United States in the 60s, and I'm going to do my best as the president to see that the United States moves ahead in the 1960s. That's why I've been elected, I believe. And while I am in that office, I will do the best I can to do what I think is best for the country. And I'm confident that the Congress takes the same view, that we must move ahead in 1960. In fact, there isn't any doubt that in October, both candidates for the presidency were taking the view that a great national effort would be required. So I think there's general agreement on that.
Several times during the campaign, Vice President Nixon said that if he were defeated, it would amount to a repudiation of Republicanism.
No, I think it's a victory for the Democrats, but I don't think that we could certainly call the result a repudiation of anyone. But I do think that at least the responsibility has been given to us by a majority of the citizens. The margin is narrow, but the responsibility is clear. But I don't think that Mr. Nixon should feel in any sense, or the President or the Republican Party, that they have been repudiated. I think that that is far too strong a word. I think an alternative course, an alternative group, an alternative philosophy, an alternative party was selected. But I'm not sure, I certainly would not use the word repudiation of the Republicans.
Earlier question. Is President Bush in favor of maintaining the present election routine in this country, or favor legislation provided electoral politics elections that better reflect the popular?
Well, I've been concerned with the problem of the Electoral College, and I'm sure that'll be a matter which will be considered by the next administration and by the next Congress. I'm not sure that the suggested alternatives are preferable, but at least we ought to consider if there's any way that we can make it more responsive to the will of the people. I want to make it clear that I don't, I'm not suggesting any major overhaul. There are several deficiencies in the system, however, which the question of how binding on the electors, how the will of the will of the majority in a state, I think, is a question which ought to be considered. As you know, today there's no obligation by any elected to vote for any candidate, regardless of what the state may have done. Now, that is somewhat of an anachronism. I'm sorry, shoot me, and then. Well, I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Nixon. I don't know what Senator Mansfield suggested. I hope to have a chance to see Mr. Nixon between now and January 20th. Well, I would rather talk with him before I would say anything. I think we ought to. I don't know what he's planning to do.
President, you and I,
Shoot.
like to let you make a goodwill trip by the President in general, I think you have any plans for it.
Well, I haven't any plans for any trips at the present time. I think goodwill trips should be engaged in with some caution. I think that there's a limit to their usefulness. And there may be occasions when it's in the national interest for the President to go abroad, but I think it only should be when the matter's carefully considered and the benefits carefully weighed.
Mr. President, you credit Senator Johnson with a substantial contribution to your victory.
I was delighted that he agreed way back in July to run. I think that the results of the election proved that his willingness to play a major role as a partner in this effort, I think that his part in it was most important. And what is even more significant, I think that he will play a major role in the next administration.
Okay. You know what your brother said yesterday about the debate. Do you think you might have been able to win without Mr. President?
Yeah.
During your campaign, several times you were high priority early in the defense matter. Can you give us any plans how we might?
No, I was Senator Symington, who was preparing a report on the reorganization of the Defense Department. I hope to talk to him as soon as I come back from vacation. And also with Mr. Nitze, who was also engaged in the study of national security matters. But I haven't talked to either one of them as yet. I talked to Governor Stevenson yesterday on the matter of, I'd prefer to postpone till I came back, the whole question of roles, appointments, responsibilities.
Mr. President, previously you said that your quote spent past 70 days here and for the advantage to do. Plan to change the days.
Well, I'm going to come here to Hyannisport with my family if possible. The only limitation would be on in regard to my wife, whether she's in a position to travel at that time. Otherwise, we'll stay in Washington. Do I expect to? I'm sorry. I think that all matters which are substantive, I prefer to wait till we've had a chance to. Well, the situation in 33 and the situation today is somewhat different. The Democratic majorities in the House and Senate in 33 and today are different, but I hope that, and I expect that the majority in the House and Senate and in the administration will be able to work together very effectively. Well, I have some thoughts, but I thought I'd wait till I talk to him about it.
Senator, just to clarify matters, after your visit Senator Johnson next week, do you intend to come back to Washington immediately or go back to...
No, I'll go back. I expect today, my present plan is if I see him on Thursday that I will go back to Florida for a few more days, then return to Washington in the space of about 2 weeks from today, or within 2 weeks from today.
Thank you.
To make things clear about the way presidential news conferences are organized, it is only fair to explain that this news conference was held about an hour ago. It precisely started at 3:01. It was recorded on tape as it was being held, and that is a conventional way that presidential news conferences are taped and recorded, but they are not released immediately. In any case, you hear it first and fully on radio. This news conference was not edited in any way. You heard it completely. This is Mutual, the world's largest network.